Hello and welcome back to Him Reads and continue with Nancy Drew the Haunted Carousel. Chapter 2, The Wonderful Gallop. Nancy tried not to show her fear, but she could not tell from the looks on their faces that the two oncoming crooks were deadly serious. If they could not scare her off, the bigger one was ready to use force. Should she stand her ground or run? Nancy's heart was pounding, and her throat suddenly felt dry. If she stayed, she might be hurt, but to give up now meant the Tromples would lose all their money and have to return to Switzerland. Their American vacation would be ruined by these violent, unfeeling criminals. If only help would come. Nancy bit her lip to keep it from trembling and decided to stall for the time, at least for a few moments longer. Suddenly the shrill of a police whistle split the air. There came the faint sound of George's voice calling, "We're coming, Nancy." If the two older members of the pickpocket gang skidded to a halt only a second before they could have reached Nancy. Both glanced over their shoulders toward the sound of the whistle. The burly crook's face twisted with rage as he saw himself lost both his loot and chance for revenge. Then he and his scrawny companion turned and fled. Nancy boldly reached out to them and grabbed the red-shirted youth's forearm. "See how your pals have deserted you?" she exclaimed scornfully. "Better give up the money you stole while you still have the chance." The crook wavered, his face paled and oozing perspiration. With an oath, he jerked free of Nancy's grasp. At the same time, he grabbed a wad of bills from his pocket and tossed them in the air. Then he too turned and ran. George and the policeman reached the scene within moments. "Oh, Nancy, thank goodness we got here in time," George said breathlessly. The officer didn't stop, but just pounding on the pursuit of the fleeing crooks. Meanwhile, the breeze was scattering the money. Nancy and George were hastily collecting it when the Tromples, Bess, and 3 Custer children came hurrying up. Everyone joined the scramble, and soon they had retrieved all the money. "Better count it," Nancy advised Conrad Trumbull. Trudy was crying quietly. By the time the tears were relieved. "Oh, Miss Drew, you're an angel. How can we ever thank you enough?" "The money is all here," Conrad told his wife with a happy smile. Then he shook Nancy's hand earnestly. "God bless you, Miss Drew, and all the rest of your friends. Trudy and I are more grateful than we can say. You cannot imagine how bad we felt when it seemed we could go back home at once without seeing your country. Now we enjoy the American tour more than ever." The Trumbles wanted to reward the girls and their small companions, but Nancy, Bess, and George would not hear of it. "We just want you to have a good vacation," Bess said, dimpling into her irresistible round-cheeked smile. The young couple thought they should wait out the scene until the park officers returned. "If the police see my testimony for any reason, they know where to reach me," Nancy told the Trumbles. Then the girls took the custom children and walked on to the carousel. Its gay music filled the air. Gay meaning happy. The children were jumping up and down in their eagerness to ride the merry-go-round. Just as they reached it, the carousel stopped. Gary ran forward shouting, "I want the black horse." Janet and Billy also found steeds to their liking. Bess and George helped the 2 little ones on while Nancy bought the tickets. Then the 3 teenagers went over to the park bench facing the merry-go-round and sat down to watch it as it started up again. The carousel was certainly a great beauty, with flashing mirrors and gilt cupids and other ornate decorations. Its name, Wonderland Gallop, was painted on the metal canopy in fancy gold and red letters. The horses looked spirited and realistic and were beautifully painted. "Golly, I remember how much I loved to ride them," Bess reminisced. "You did too, Nancy." "So did I," George put in with a laugh, "but my favorite ride was always the roller coaster." While her chums were talking, Nancy was watching the operator of the merry-go-round. A dark-haired young man with a lined face and a mustache. He looked about 50 years old. He had a tow-head young assistant who collected the tickets and helped the children off the horses when the ride was over. The older man left his assistant in charge and began walking toward a refreshment stand. Nancy intercepted him and introduced himself. "You're the owner of the Carousel, Mr. Novak, he said. Leo Novak. Yes, I'm the owner. What can I do for you? Nancy explained that she had been challenged by a reporter to find out why the carousel turned on spookily at night of its own accord. Can you suggest any possible cause? Leo Novak shook his head. Beats me. The whole thing's weird. I've checked over the motor, the operating machinery, everything. I can't find anything out of order. Could someone just be playing a prank? Novak shrugged. Search me. It's possible, I suppose. But don't ask me who or how. Nancy frowned thoughtfully. Mr. Novak, you just proved the carousel back to this part recently, didn't you? That's right. The Wonderland Gallop used to run right over here in Riverside Park up until 8 years ago. Then old Mr. Ogden, the first owner, moved it to another park out in the Midwest. Were you with the carousel then? Yes, I worked for Mr. Ogden for a long time. When he died, I bought it. Why did you move it back here? Over the place where we was getting down was pretty run down and seedy. Business was falling off, so I decided it was time to find a better location. Besides, I always liked River Heights. Do you think anything could have happened to the operating machinery or anyone else could have tampered with it while the carousel was being moved? Nancy probed persistently. Nah, anyway, like I said, I checked the whole setup when it started acting funny and couldn't find any bugs. Novak spread his hands helplessly. Just one of those crazy things, I guess. How strange, Nancy smiled. Well, thank you for your help, Mr. Novak. Anytime, Miss Drew, and good luck with your spook hunting. Nancy rejoined Beth and George and the children, and they resumed their ramble in the park. After sampling the monster, the dogdom, the Ferris wheel, the log jam, and then much to the delight of the three little custers, a haunted house, George looked at the other two teenagers and sighed, Wow, I give up, I'm bushed. Anyhow, her cousin Bess pointed out, it's time for dinner. As Nancy and George laughed, the plump girl, who was often teased about her appetite, blushed but chuckled good-naturedly. Well, it is. I remember we have to cook on the houseboat. Bess and George's uncle, Mr. Custer, had rented the houseboat during his vacation from his office job and had come downriver on it with his family to visit their relatives in River Heights. Tonight, Bess and George were to stay with the other three children on the boat while their parents dined with the Fanes and Marvins. Come on, Nancy, you've got to see the boat to believe it. It's such fun to live on, George said. You bet, little Janet chimed in. I wish we could live in it all the time. Yeah, it's great, her brother Gary added. While they chatted, the group was walking out of the amusement ride area and through the adjoining woodland on their way to the marina at the edge of the Riverside Park. As they approached the dock of the late afternoon sunshine, Janet burst out, Look, there's someone on our boat. It's a man. Wide-eyed, the girl saw figures silhouetted against the lowering sun. As they watched, he disappeared on the other side of the houseboat. I'll go for help, Beth said nervously. All right. And you three stay here, please, while George and I see what's going on, Nancy told the Custer. She picked up a small but hefty rock while George found a broken tree branch. Determinedly, the two girls began to walk on the deck toward the houseboat, their hearts pounding. That's the end of that chapter. See you later.